Hi guys, we're here at Tryon and I took Lime with me this time and we did schooling pony when we first arrived. It was like almost back to back. We got here, tacked up, and then rode, and that went pretty well. We ended up with a red ribbon, which I was happy with, and then now we're just settling and I already ate lunch. I got a burger, but I'm going to braid Lime, which is going to take forever, and then I'll catch you guys up when I go to Hobby Horse. After arriving at Tryon, we unpacked, unloaded, and got the stall ready for Lime. And then we quickly tacked her up and I got ready in the schooling ring, and then we went for our 2 schooling pony to 9 rounds. And Lime was really good. We ended up getting a red ribbon. So here are some clips from that round. This show was during Halloween weekend before it, so they had all their jack-o'-lanterns set up, which were really cool. They looked like real pumpkins. Here was our little stall decor, and then afterwards we caught lunch, and then I got ready for Hobby Horse. I actually made my own Hobby Horse, which is kind of funny, but I didn't realize they had a costume contest, so I last minute grabbed stuff for my horse and rider costume contest for the next day. So I wore this purple tutu and those wings, and then I got my face painted, which it was absolutely lovely. Honestly, usually I get last in Hobby Horse because I am not the fastest runner, but I ended up getting 3rd, which is pretty good for me if I don't say so myself. Good morning, everyone. We are headed out to Tryon, and I'm gonna start out the vlog right now. We arrived super early, so I walked Papaya around the grounds and then schooled in the dark and let Lime sit for a while after I finished up braiding her tail, and then the large pony division kicked off. So this was my first hunter round. She came in a little spunky, but I still really liked our round, and I'm gonna let you guys enjoy it. We head up to this first single and we get a pretty nice distance, and then we're gonna head off to the diagonal line. Next up is this outside line 6 stride. So we come 1, 2, 3, and I get a little too much pace, so I give a little bit of a touch in the reins so that we don't land on the jump for that 6 stride. And then we come around to the diagonal line, which is a 7, and we get a little bit of a close distance, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we get a little close on it because we had a little more speed than I anticipated. Then we come around to the outside line, and I think I open her up for that distance, but it didn't quite work. So then we come down the line and we get a nice 6 without being too close to the end of the line, and then we do our courtesy circle. We actually ended up with first place in this round, which I was super excited because this round you do the confirmation, and we stood up for the confirmation afterwards, and I stayed in the first place spot, and I was super happy with that. This next round they scored it because they weren't sure if they were holding the classic or not, but we ended up receiving an 83, which I was super excited about because that's one of the highest scores Lime and I have ever had. And we come to this single. We get a really nice distance to it. I kind of slow her for her change and try to ride out and use my space because sometimes I tend to cut my turns and it makes the course look choppy. And then we get a much nicer distance to this diagonal line, and I push her forward because I realize I'm not going to get the distance, and we ended up getting the correct distance because I pushed her forward to get the 7. And then we go into this outside 6, and we get a nice distance to it. Compared to the first course, it was much nicer. I do have to slow her a little bit down the line because she's starting to anticipate that she needs to open up. And then we're going to do this far perch diagonal single that's all white, and I kind of just hold the pace and we get a pretty nice distance to it. And then we're going to go to the outside line to finish off the course, and I'm trying to make sure I'm using my space, thinking about where my turns are. And we get a nice 6 down this line. I kind of touch the rein so we don't get too close to the oxer. And yeah, we ended up with an 83, which I was super excited for. And lots of pats for Lime.
Down to the Walt Brothers, all walk.
After my division, I went and cooled out with one of my friends. We walked up and down the sides, the sand sides that kind of line where the barns are, just so that Lime settles down from after riding her and doing the undersaddle, and that she doesn't just anticipate after she does her classes, she goes straight to the barn, as I like taking Lime around the ground so that she gets a little more attention. And then afterwards, I went and caught lunch. And then fast forward to around 4 or 5 in the afternoon, we did the costume contest, and we were a woodland fairy. The costume is pretty much all homemade, so we used a lot of glue guns to glue gun all those flowers onto an old bridle, and then cut up different pieces of fabric for the mane. Same with the blanket on her, and then I had LED lanterns on her chest and on the blanket. And then for my helmet, I saw this cool idea on Instagram of a girl had like this mushroom hat and then was like a fairy that lived under the mushroom. So that's kind of what I did with the helmet, and I ended up using like casting plaster, and I think it turned out super, super cute. Lime was so good to go in the stadium. She's never been in the stadium before, especially with all the lanterns and flowers and fabric hitting her. She was amazing for this, and surprisingly we ended up getting first in the costume contest, which I was super excited about because a lot of work went into the costume. And it was kind of neat because Doug Payne and his family were the judges, and I got to meet his kids, which was such a fun moment. And here are some of the other costumes that were in the competition. morning, everyone. It's a horse show, so we're gonna head out to Tryon this morning, and I'm gonna get Lime all schooled and ready because we are first up to go, and I'm gonna catch you guys up when we arrive. Bye. This is our Marshall and Sterling pony medal round. I was super happy with my round. We had to do a courtesy circle because the first jump started in the front of the ring. I think Lime and I had a lot of improvements in terms of like our ability to turn in and out of the lines, and the halt was 10 times better because usually Lime and I struggle with the halt, but we did lots of tight turns, which was kind of good prep for the handy, and I found that we were more balanced as we've been doing some jumper shows just to practice our handiness and her balance and my balance when turning, so that I can spot a distance better to set her up for success. And here we come around. I use my space because it is just the metal. We're going to do this jump, and then we're going to turn in between the jumps. There's another jump to the left, yeah. And we roll back around, and then after this jump, I have to halt. And then once I get her stopped, a rule of thumb is to count to 5. I think I counted to like 4. And then I asked for my canter transition from that halt, and she gets a really nice transition. I could have cut in front of the other diagonal jump, but I still like how I did this because it kind of follows the line a little better. And after this jump, I do the trot jump, and that finishes up our Marshall and Sterling round. Then to finish up the division on Sunday, I had my first hunter and my handy round left. So my first hunter, we came across the diagonal, picked up our left lead, and went to a single. And I'm going to let you guys watch this round. It wasn't my favorite round of the weekend, but it was definitely a nice round. We ended up getting third in the Marshall and Sterling and third in this round. So it held us, as yesterday we had, the day before we had 2 firsts and a 5th. So we come into this outside line, and I had to push her down this distance. So that's definitely probably what caused me to end up third. And I'm going to let you guys watch the round. Next up is the handy. I did this weird little hook so I could get my right lead and set her up well, and there were so many like tight turns in this handy and only one full line. So we came into this first part of the outside line, then we rolled back to the yellow and brown diagonal oxer, and then we come around to the outside line, so I get my pace a little more so that we can get down the line, because we started out slow to get the tight turns, and then we need to open up, and we get a little bit of a close distance, so I have to push her again. I get a teeny bit left behind, but anyways, we're gonna go to the diagonal single that's all white, I think, and roll back around to the second part of the outside line, which is like a green oxer, and we get a pretty good distance to it, and we're gonna go around to this single gray stone type jump, and then I landed on my left lead, so I had to change to my right lead. And then next up was the trot jump. So I get my trot and I just kind of loop around, and then after the trot jump I make sure she gets her canter, and then I walk, and then I do my courtesy circle. We also ended up with third in this round, which was kind of funny that I did 3 classes and got 3 thirds, and that gave us enough points for reserve champion, qualifying us for pony finals, which I am so excited for and will definitely be vlogging on my channel. Finished up showing and caught lunch, and now we're gonna head back home. So we're gonna load Lime up, as we already loaded everything on the trailer, and I'm gonna thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog, and I'll see you guys next time.